Manila, a city full of life shaped by hundreds of years of history, culture, and strength. In its heart lies Intramuros, the walled city, a reminder of a time long gone. And there you'll find Fort Santiago, a silent guardian holding on to secrets whispered on the breeze. Its old stones have seen empires rise and fall, battles fought, and the deepest pain humans can feel. But what truly grabs our imagination are the stories that go beyond what we can see, tales of restless spirits, echoes of a troubled past. You see, Fort Santiago isn't just any fort. It's a place where history and horror meet, where the line between our world and the spirit world is thin. The air inside the fort feels heavy, filled with the weight of terrible events and the sad whispers of those who died within its walls. Are these just stories passed down through generations, or is there something more to them? Come with me as we explore Fort Santiago and uncover the spooky tales that make it one of the most haunted places in the Philippines. Our journey starts in 1571. The Spanish, led by Miguel López de Legazpi, had their eyes on the beautiful islands of the Philippines. On the ruins of a destroyed Muslim fort, they built their own, Fort Santiago. Made of wood and earth, it showed everyone Spain was in control, a foothold in a new land they wanted to conquer. As time passed, the fort changed. What started as a simple defense against the local people became a powerful fortress. Stone replaced wood, cannons lined its walls, and its shadow fell over the growing city of Manila. Fort Santiago became really important for trade, a link between Asia and the Americas, but this importance came with a dark side. Fort Santiago became more than just a military base. It became a prison, a place of suffering and despair. Inside its dungeons, many people faced terrible pain. Political prisoners, rebels, and even regular Filipinos accused of disobeying Spanish rule were locked up, tortured, and often killed. These horrible acts would forever stain the fort's history, making it feel full of sadness and fear. For over 300 years, Fort Santiago silently witnessed the cruelty of Spanish rule. Its dungeons became infamous, places people only whispered about. The most feared was the Pozo Negro, the black hole. This underground cell had no light and no hope, a place for the most unfortunate souls. Torture was common inside the fort, the screams of those suffering, their cries for mercy echoing through the stone hallways, became a terrible sound of pain. Sickness spread quickly in the crowded cells, killing many. The fort's grounds became a graveyard, a mass burial place for those who dared to challenge the Spanish. The horrors endured within Fort Santiago left a permanent mark, seeping into the very walls of the structure. Even today, visitors talk about a heavy feeling, a sense of terrible sadness that hangs in the air. It's as if the fort itself remembers the pain of the past, becoming a place filled with sorrow and despair. The 1900s brought new horrors to Fort Santiago. As World War II spread across the world, the Japanese army took control of the Philippines. Fort Santiago, once a symbol of Spanish cruelty, became a prison camp under a new, harsh ruler. The Japanese occupation was brutal. Prisoners of war, both Filipino and American, were treated terribly. Torture, starvation, and executions were normal. The fort's dungeons once again echoed with the cries of innocent people. It's believed that over 600 men and women were murdered inside Fort Santiago during the Japanese occupation. A particularly scary story from this time tells of a secret tunnel connecting the fort to the nearby Pasig River. They say the Japanese used this tunnel to get rid of the bodies of their victims, their silent screams carried away by the water. Perhaps the most famous ghost story about Fort Santiago is that of José Rizal. A national hero of the Philippines, Rizal was a brilliant man, a writer, a doctor, and a critic of Spanish rule. His writings sparked the revolution, which led to his arrest and imprisonment within Fort Santiago. On December 30th, 1896, Rizal was marched from his cell to Luneta Park. His final walk, a testament to his strong spirit, is marked by bronze footsteps in the ground. He was executed by firing squad, his death a turning point for the Philippine Revolution. Today people say Rizal's spirit still wanders Fort Santiago. Visitors and guards have reported seeing a ghostly figure resembling the hero, often near his old cell. Some claim to hear his voice, a soft murmur reciting lines from his famous poem, Mi Ultimo Adios, My Last Farewell. Another ghost often seen in Fort Santiago is the woman in white. No one knows for sure who she is, but her sad presence is undeniable. Some believe she was a prisoner who died within the fort's walls, her spirit unable to find peace. Others think she might have been the wife or lover of a prisoner, driven mad into her death by grief. Sightings of the woman in white are often accompanied by a feeling of deep sadness and a sudden chill in the air. She's seen in different parts of the fort, her white dress flowing behind her as she silently moves through the shadows. Some who have seen her describe her as a kind presence, her sadness clear but not scary. Others, however, say they felt a sense of dread, a strong feeling of being watched. No matter who she really is, the woman in white remains one of Fort Santiago's most intriguing mysteries. Besides Rizal and the woman in white, Fort Santiago is said to be a hub for paranormal activity. Visitors and staff have reported many strange and scary events. Voices with no bodies, often speaking in Spanish or Japanese, have been recorded. The sound of chains, the groans of those tortured, and the screams of those who died within the fort have been heard, even when there's no explanation. Cold spots, sudden gusts of wind, and the feeling of being touched by unseen hands are just a few of the unsettling experiences reported within Fort Santiago. These events, often happening in areas linked to torture or death, suggest a lingering energy, a psychic imprint left behind by the traumatic events of the past. Fort Santiago's haunted reputation has drawn the attention of paranormal investigators from all over. Using special equipment, these teams have tried to document the unexplained, to peek into the world of the dead. While they haven't found absolute proof of ghosts, many investigations have had interesting results. Recordings of clear voices, images showing unexplained cold spots, and changes in energy with no logical explanation have all been found within Fort Santiago. These findings, along with the many eyewitness accounts and the fort's dark history, suggest that something truly unusual is happening within its walls. Whether it's leftover energy, actual spirits, or something else entirely, Fort Santiago remains a fascinating puzzle for those who want to explore the unknown. Fort Santiago stands as a reminder of the strength of the human spirit, both in life and in death. Its walls have seen centuries of history, from great victories to terrible suffering. It's a place where the echoes of the past are strong, where the line between history and horror becomes blurry. As we stand in its shadow, we're reminded that the past is never truly gone. It lingers in the whispers of the wind, the shadows that dance in the flickering candlelight, and the stories we tell about the places where the line between our world and the next is thin. Fort Santiago is more than just a historical landmark. It feels alive, forever marked by the joys and sorrows, the triumphs and tragedies of the countless people who walked its grounds. And as we leave, we can't shake the feeling that we are not alone, that something watches from the shadows, its secrets kept safe within the old stones.